Okay, we have ourselves two amazing games tonight. So, with only two games on tonight, we have 8 tomorrow, 14 on Saturday. And I looked into Saturday, 7 games start at the exact same time. So, I'll follow what I can. But that's Saturday, and for now, here we are on a nice quiet Thursday. And we've got quiet days. There's a quiet Monday, a quiet Wednesday coming up, so it's going to be kind of an up and down, and we'll see how things turn out. Let's go ahead and start things with Nashville and Calgary. And tonight, this was the Flames of last year. This reminded me greatly of the Flames from last year. These Calgary Flames that have been blowing leads late in games, I don't know who those guys are. Tonight, this was the Calgary Flames I remember from last year. Rene, of course, was entering tonight's game on a 2-game shutout streak, which meant he's due for, I guess, a normal pedestrian-type game. His stats have been amazing, so at some point, that dam's going to burst. Happens to every goalie. The Predators got an early power play, and they didn't score on that. However, Bonino scored from Smith and Ellis at 5:34, so Bonino stays hot. Coming off the hat trick, he gets another goal. That's 4 goals in a row as for the Predators, scored by Nick Bonino. And the shots at that point were 9-0 Nashville. Nashville looked ready, rested, and like hockey players. The Flames looked slow. They looked disengaged at times. Irwin then knocked Gaudreau out of the game. That didn't last, but it was kind of a scary moment if you're a Flames fan to see Johnny Gaudreau hit like that. So that happened. Shortly thereafter, Watson scores from Sissons and Irwin at 10:51. Austin Watson, who just signed a 3-year extension with the Nashville Predators for $1.5 million a year, he rewarded them for the new contract with probably the best game I think he's ever played tonight. The shots at that point were 13-0 for the Predators. Again, Calgary here doesn't look like it. However, after that goal, they did pick up a couple of shots. And then Ryan scores from Tkachuk and Hanifin at 15:27, which felt important because up until then, it was all Nashville. They get a late power play due to those Flames, and Johnny Gaudreau hit the post. So he was back in the game before the end of the first period. It was just one of those incidents where you kind of lose your breath and you're like, oh, don't let Johnny Gaudreau be hurt. But it's 2-1 for Nashville after 1, and it felt like this game should have been about 4-1, to be honest. Second period, Elias Lindholm, he hit the post as well. The Flames then get a power play. During the Flames power play, Calle Jarnkrok gets a pass from Watson and scores a shorthanded goal at 4 minutes and 36 seconds. So that made it 3-1. And again, it's hard to get momentum when your power play is allowing goals at the other end. The shots were 20-4 in the game for the Predators 7 minutes into the second period. That's 4 shots. That's no shots in the second period to that point for the Calgary Flames. They had 4 in the first period. It's just not getting it done. And I put the Flames need shots, and then after I put kind of obvious, because it is obvious, I just wanted to make sure that I really drove that point home. They weren't getting shots at all at that point. Rene then stopped a Tkachuk shot shortly thereafter. And what was interesting was that during this, Kelly Rudy kept saying, the Flames are playing better. It's not showing on the shot clock, but they're playing better. They're connecting better. And they looked better during that second period. Turris then ran into David Riddick, and that was late in the second, and that results in a power play for Calgary. And what happens is Riddick's in his crease, and Turris just skated into him. So you skate into a goalie in his crease, that's goalie interference. And shorthanded goal. Jarnkrok, his second shorthanded goal of the period from Austin Watson again at 18:52. So going into the third, it is 4-1 for the Nashville Predators. 2 of Nashville's goals have been scored during Calgary power plays, and the Flames had managed 9 shots to the 27 by the Predators. This game didn't look close. Third period, Rasmus Andersson scored from Gaudreau and Monahan at 1:58. And suddenly, the Flames picked it up. It was like after this goal, the Flames on the ice and on the bench went, hey, we can do this. We can do this. And I didn't think Rene looked great tonight. I'm not going to throw all the blame on him, but I didn't think he looked fantastic tonight. Again, you can't expect shutouts every night from your goaltender. It was a great start for the Flames. Then Forsberg and Yossi had a 2-on-0 that didn't end up resulting in a goal. And it felt important enough that I threw it up on the board. The Predators were then sitting on a 2-goal lead. And this is what always drives me nuts, is when you have a lead and you just sit back. All right, we'll just let them have the puck in that zone. We'll just let them have it. Well, why aren't you forechecking? We have a 2-goal lead. We don't need to forecheck. Everything is fine. And I really hope that we start seeing some forechecking with leads because it's driving me nuts. Lindholm scored from Monahan at 13:38. Quine then scored from Giordano at 16:39. Suddenly, it's a tie game because they sat on the lead. Calgary continues to push, however, kind of against the flow of the play. Austin Watson scores his second goal, his fourth point of the night, from Sissons and Smith at 18:38 with a minute and 22 seconds left. Nashville's winning this. This one's done. That's what I figured. However, Matthew Tkachuk had other plans. He scored at 19 minutes and 21 seconds. So he scores in the last minute of the third period. And Tkachuk's had kind of an up and down first month of the season. So tonight was kind of an important game for him. And it silenced the crowd that was very excited from the Watson goal. Suddenly it's tied again at 5. We're going into overtime. In the overtime, Calgary really controlled the puck far more than did Nashville. And they had some good chances, and then with 1.6 seconds left on the clock, that's it. Matthew Tkachuk with an absolutely amazing goal. And if you haven't seen it, just go look it up. It's all over the internet. 4:59 is the official time of the goal. I don't know what else to say about it. It was fantastic. He wins it with barely a second left to spare. And that's your game. The Calgary Flames came back from down 4-1 in Nashville in the third period. This felt like last year's Flames. We'll see if they can ride the momentum from this for future games. The 3 stars of this game were Tkachuk, Watson, and Yarncroke. I cannot argue at all with those 3 stars. Good call. The shots were 15-4 for Nashville in the first, 12-5 Nashville in the second. In the third, 14-7 in favor of Calgary, and then 4-2 Calgary in the overtime. Final shots 36-27 in favor of the Preds. Riddick saved 31 out of 36. Rinne saved 21 out of 27. Both power plays went 0 for 3. That was an amazing game. And so coming out of that game, I thought, boy, I don't know how the Vegas game could top that. Well, it can copy it. And the Montreal Canadiens, I guess, in between periods, must have looked at what Calgary did and went, oh, we could do that. We could make it more dramatic than that. We don't need that kind of drama. We could be more. We can do better. The first period, Dano scores from Weber and Tatar at 2 minutes and 35 seconds. So again, a couple minutes into the period, and it's a goal. And Montreal continues this pattern of scoring early in games, early in periods. It really is beneficial to your team in general. And they had the early edge, and then Nick Suzuki's line came very close to burying a 2-0 goal. However, William Karlsson would score from Marchessault at 14:35. Absolutely beautiful goal on Kincaid there. Then Tuck scores his first of the year from Schmidt and Eakin at 19:36. It's an important goal for this reason. Tuck's first game back, Schmidt's first game back. That's Eakin's first point of the year. That really settles some stuff out for Vegas. It's 2-1 for the Golden Knights after 1. And I kind of felt like, okay, this is a Vegas game. This is how it's going to work. It's Keith Kincaid in net. And while Kincaid has been good at times in his career, it does look like he's on the downside. Second period, Armia and Drouin got very, very close to tying it. I thought Fleury was playing pretty well. The Habs were pushing, and as I said, Fleury pretty solid in net. The Habs then got a power play. They didn't score on that power play, however. They would score not too long after. Drouin scored from Riley and Domi at 9 minutes and 40 seconds. It was a goal that went off Braden McNabb's stick and into the net. So it was 2-2. Wheel then pushed for the lead. Jordan Wheel, not a goal scorer, not a really great offensive player, but he shows you flashes of an offensive upside enough that I can totally understand why he gets power play time, why he gets chances on top six opportunities here and there, because it's there, it's somewhere, it's just right under the surface. And for teams he's played for before, I'm sure that fans are saying, yeah, we know. It's just frustrating it doesn't come out often enough. Kincaid then absolutely robbed Stone in close. There was a post for Carlson as Vegas was giving that push back. The Habs got a power play late. That didn't go anywhere. And then there was a last second stop by Kincaid on Carlson. Believe that was a shorthanded break for for Vegas. And that if that had gone in, we'd have a whole different game going to the third. But it was tied going to the third. And I made the mistake of putting Kincaid look sharp. You know what that means. Yeah, Vegas scored shortly thereafter. Glass scored from Eakin at 4:21, so Eakin has a couple of helpers, and then the Habs took a penalty. There was no goal for Vegas on the power play. However, it wasn't long after Stone scored from Pacioretty at 8 minutes. And initially they gave that goal to Stastny. They took it away from Stastny, gave it to Stone. Regardless, it was a tip in front. Whether it was an own tip by Montreal or by Stastny, doesn't matter. It's still in the net. The Habs then pushed while they were down by 2, and I thought, gee, where was this fight earlier? It's too bad. On some level, the Montreal's going to lose this one. Armia missed an empty net, and I thought, yeah, this is how things work in Vegas. Sometimes teams just can't catch a break. The Habs got a key power play. They didn't score on it, but Tatar scored at 13 minutes and 33 seconds. And every time Tatar did anything tonight, it was mentioned by the announcers. He was in Vegas, right? He used to be a Vegas player, and they talked about that trade a lot. The Pacioretty trade was talked about on TSN a lot tonight, and I get it, because both teams did benefit from the trade. And then it was very close to a tie. Marc-Andre Fleury did the old-fashioned 2-pad stack to keep the puck out of the net. They pull the goalie with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left, and what was interesting and different, you normally don't pull the goalie until you have control of the puck in their end. Nope, they pulled the goalie while the puck was behind their own net. And I don't know if that threw Vegas off. I don't know if that was a vote of confidence by Claude Julien that allowed Montreal to carry the puck with some real confidence and swagger. But Armia gets an assist on a Gallagher goal at, I think it was 11 seconds after you actually get Kincaid on the bench that they scored. So 18:02 was the time of the goal. And surprise, surprise, Montreal's tied the game. We are going to overtime. Now, unlike the Calgary game where it takes 4:59 just barely before we go to a shootout, Montreal's not interested in it taking that long. Domi scores from Petrie at 27 seconds. And interestingly enough, that goal was scored on poor coverage by Pacioretty. It was Pacioretty's man that ended up being the one that gets in and scores the goal. Domi, clearly very happy. I believe they said that's his first overtime winner in his career. And that could really get him going. Your 3 stars tonight were Domi, Tuck, and Eakin. And again, I get it because Vegas played really well tonight, so I get them getting 2 out of 3 stars. The shots kind of reflect that. 12-10 Vegas in the first, 15-10 Vegas in the second. In the third, the shots were 9-8 Montreal. Montreal had the only shot in overtime. It's the one that matters. 35-30 were the shots in favor of Vegas. Kincaid saved 31 out of 35. Fleury saved 24 out of 30, or 25 out of 30, I should say. Because I'm looking at this and going, okay, I wrote that down from the app, and it hadn't counted that 30th shot on Fleury, so I better put that up there. 25 saves on 30 shots from Marc-Andre Fleury. Vegas only had 1 power play, didn't score on it. Montreal had 3, they didn't score on theirs either. But, wow, what a game. What an amazing game. And it matches up really well with another amazing game. That's how you do it when you only got 2 goals in the NHL. Both of them go to overtime, and both of them have some pretty thrilling results in the overtime. And if you're a fan of a Canadian team that played tonight, you ended up pretty happy. Both of these are 3-point games. We haven't seen a ton of those over the last week or so. We'll see if we start seeing more three-point games as we get further into the season and the parity thing gets to really stick. We shouldn't see as many lopsided games as we were seeing over the last month. But we'll see, right? This year's been really unpredictable. So let me know your thoughts regarding tonight's games and winners. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happen upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.